Hey guys, so this is the ND Venus in-ear monitor. Now these are a pair of ultra affordable in-ear monitors, and going into this review, I had set my expectations really low, but lo and behold, after having used this and testing this thoroughly, these have impressed me beyond what I thought was possible. So let's talk about that. Now, as for the unboxing experience, it comes in a very eco-friendly packaging, almost bare bones, nothing too fancy. Sliding off the outer cover, inside the box we get some paperwork, a few pairs of different size silicone ear tips. You get the oxygen-free copper cable that has 2-pin connectors on one end. Now the version I have comes with a microphone and multifunction control buttons and ends in a USB-C jack. And of course, you get the ND Venus in-ear monitors themselves. Now, as for the specs of the ND Venus, so these pack a single dynamic driver in each of the in-ear monitors, and they have an impedance of 26 ohms. So again, these would be categorized as low impedance in-ear monitors. However, if you happen to get the version which has the 3.5mm audio jack, I would highly suggest that you still invest in a portable DAC, nothing too expensive or fancy, just something that can make sure that these can perform to their full potential, and what you get is the best audio quality possible. And the ones that I personally use, I'll leave a link of them in the description below. Now, as for the appearance and the build quality, starting off with the looks, so on the faceplate you have this industrial gear inspired motif going on, which is okay, you can be a fan of that. I kind of think it looks a bit immature, but yeah, it is what it is. On the other side, you have transparent resin, so you can actually see the innards of the in-ear monitor, you can see the drivers themselves, which I always think is pretty cool. Now, the build quality is unapologetically plastic, so it doesn't feel premium, feels kind of toyish and cheap, but surprisingly, it is still ergonomic, super light on the ears, absolutely no ear fatigue, even for long listening sessions. Now, although I shouldn't complain, but I'll still mention it, I'm not a fan of the cable quality. It feels very cheap and flimsy, and it doesn't feel like something that's going to last very long, especially with daily wear and tear. It's something that can get damaged very easily. But on the flip side, you can always upgrade your cables and invest in a better, higher quality cable if that's what you want. Okay, so now let's talk about the main criteria, which is the audio quality. So you guys know, if you're an existing viewer, that I judge these in-ear monitors based on how they produce the 3 major frequencies that broadly make up any sound that you hear: the highs, the mids, and the lows. The highs are the treble response, where the really sharp sounding instruments are, the mids where the vocals are, and the low end or the bass response. Alright, starting off with the highs of the treble response. So the highs have a very mellow rendition with an acceptable level of detailed retention. They have played it super safe by not overemphasizing on making these in-ear monitors sound super sharp. So there was zero sibilance even at max volume, which is something I always appreciate. Instruments in the higher frequency range were moderately well spaced out, there was no overlap, and they were all individually audible. However, what it lacks is that edge, which makes it sound immersive and rich. That was missing. It sounded way too muted, maybe because of the lack of the ultra high frequencies. But overall, the treble response was very easy on the ears even for long listening sessions, but they weren't immersive. Next up, we have the mid frequencies where the vocals are. Now the mids, just like the highs, played very safe, and they have an overall very pleasant and smooth rendition. Now what I immediately noticed was that vocals, especially male vocals, they were muted, they lacked depth and intensity. On the flip side, the vocals never sound shouty or sibilant, but you constantly get the feeling like they are being held back. Stringed instruments in this frequency range were rendered with a moderate amount of warmth to them, so they sounded pretty organic. They were well spaced out, and even with the vocals playing, they were individually audible, which is very impressive. So overall, the mid frequencies or the vocals had a very pleasant, smooth rendition without having any artificial sharpening, but it was missing that oomph factor. And finally, we get to the low end or the bass response. Now the low end is evidently mid-bass heavy, again giving you a moderate amount of the mid-bass slam. You also get the thump, and it was enough to complement the track that you're listening to. It does a very good job at not overlapping or interfering with the treble response or the vocals even at max volume, and it never got muddy, and nor was there any distortion. However, the bass lacks texture, and although it complements the track with a sufficient amount of bass, it's not as deep as I would want them to be in order to sound more immersive. But hey, for its price, it's doing exactly as it's expected to do. Now, talking about the Soundstage, it wasn't the widest, so no, I would not recommend this in-ear monitor for gamers. However, something that I keep recommending is that because sound is a very personal choice, the type of sound signature that you prefer, I always slap on an EQ like the Rock preset or Dolby Atmos if your phone supports that. Try experimenting with that. And I found that it instantly gives an upgrade to the sound signature where it adds a bit of resolution to the treble and the mid frequencies and the bass gets deeper. So definitely give that a try. As for the microphone quality, it was A-okay and I had zero issues taking calls on these. In summary, the ND Venus has a very impressive price to performance ratio and it serves as a great starting point for beginner audiophiles who are on a very tight budget. The sound signature, while balanced and neutral, it complements most of the tracks that you're going to listen to and it sounds way pricier than it actually is going to cost you. So that is saying a lot about these, and when you consider that these cost less than 1000 rupees if you're getting the USB-C version and less than 800 rupees if you're getting the 3.5mm jack version, the ND Venus serves as a brilliant starting point. So there you have it guys, that was my review of the ND Venus. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any other questions, do let me know in the comment section below. As always, the link to this and many other in-ear monitors as well as the DAC will be mentioned in the description below. I would really appreciate that if you use those links to make your purchase. They will never cost you anything extra, that's my promise, but you guys will be helping me run this channel and I can produce more such high quality and helpful content just for you guys. So thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video, and I'll catch you guys very soon in the next one. Cheers.